What's up?
Salam alaikum to those who are Muslims. Shalom alaikum to those who are Hebrew.
And Zin.
I would like to say thanks and praise to the one who's given us birth and life, our mother, father, our Creator. And I'd like to just start by saying, great is Ma'at, great is Tahuti, great is Shashai, great is everlasting, they've been unchanged since September the first time in the Moon's creation. The sun has established the ancient lands of Africa.
True.
I have been asked to discuss the significance of Africans in terms of spiritual development in the West Indies. Yes, the development of spirituality contribution of Africans in the realms of spirituality in the West Indies. I'd first like to say that when you study the culture, the history of the people we call Africans, the first people to the planet Earth as we know it, you will find that there are people deeply embedded in the spiritual culture. People deeply in tune with nature, one with the environment, and people deeply respecting of family life and their ancestors. I would like to focus my attention on what would be some of the things that the voices of our ancestors would be telling us today about spirituality and the development of ourselves. I made 13 points that I'd like to touch on in that regards. Like Brother Mario said, the sugarcane economic revolution is what brought us here. And one of the reasons we were looked at as a people to be brought here was because of our practice of agriculture in a tropical zone of Africa, already familiar with the climates and all those things, already familiar with growing food in that type of habitat. But I want to say to you, in Africa and in many African nations and ethnic groups, agriculture is a very sacred science. You can almost say it's a religious system that Africans live by. What would be some of the voices of our ancestors would be saying if they have to give us guidance, spiritual guidance today, as a people who are the remnants of a great catastrophe, the remnants of a great Holocaust? I will first say from the Bible, where there's no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:8. The first is the ancestors will be asking for justice and retribution to the inhumane crimes against the elders of humanity. Not only by Africans themselves, Arabs and Europeans. And I want to say African themselves. But don't feel dismayed because Africans sold themselves in slavery. It tells us that Joseph was sold by his own brothers in slavery. Don't be dismayed. And they now, today, have become a great nation known as Israel. So don't be dismayed. The second, the right of reclamation of ancestral sacred grounds of indigenous cultures, nation, land, and civilizations. We who are here today, we have been bemused, confused, because we've been indoctrinated by a foreign people, a people who have no respect for nature. We've lost our faith. We have a right to reclaim what is rightfully ours. Even in these Virgin Islands, when I went to St. John, with Brother Mario last year, I told the people of St. John, you want to change St. John? You want to change the Virgin Islands? Claim it. And if they want to know how you're going to pay for it, tell them Hess paying for it every day. Every day. That's in you. The third, healing. We want to heal the wounds. The great Sechebu, the Gamizi, the deliberate Ma'afa for reconstruction, regeneration, and reparation. I go back to the Bible. Exodus chapter 12, chapter 35, verse 12. When the so-called Israelites were leaving Egypt, Moses says, go unto the Egyptians and borrow from the Egyptians precious metals, silver and gold, and precious linen. The Israelites did as Moses told them. And then after that, the Israelites also spoiled the Egyptians. Go and read the Bible. There lies the justification operation. For 400 years they were enslaved. And that very day when Moses sent them for reparation, receive reparation. You go and read the Bible, we read it every day. Read that section of the Bible, you will find it. Reparation is necessary for the injustices done. There's no statutes of limitation for committing murder, rape, kidnap. Okay? When you read those scriptures, you find that for the rape of one Israelite, the whole Israelite tribe went out and wiped out nations because injustice was done to their family. Just the other day, in Israel and Lebanon, 2 soldiers kidnapped, and they went and bombarded Lebanon. Okay? Let's deal with reality. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Israel says, vengeance is ours. Let's continue. The fourth, cultural unity. For those of you who don't know, for those of you who know of our story, not his story, our story. The oldest known nation written by humans in the temples of memory and stone is called Smai-Tawi. You don't know it. Before there was a United States of America or United Soviet Union. Thousands of years before Christ, at least 4,240 BC, started by Namur, started by Mena or Aha. There was a nation known as the Union of the Two Lands, known as Smai-Tawi, ancient Kemet, today called Egypt. That's where black people can look back in their story and find their cultural unity and achievement as a great people. That the ancestors would tell us today, we didn't start in slavery. We're running from invaders coming from the north, especially the northeast, coming through the northeastern corner of our ancestors in Africa, today called Egypt. The fifth, repatriation and journey through the door of new return. Not the door of no return, but of new return at the ancient forts that they built where they enslaved us in Africa.